Everybody.
We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for buying a business. And let's dive right in. And Luke, what you got for today?
I have a question for Jason.
Go for it.
So Jason, I have a partnership where we bought a house and we were originally thinking putting renders in, but now we're leaning maybe towards selling, um, right away instead of renting. Um, I guess Mark had some thoughts on that this morning and he told me to bring it up here. So we are gonna put in renders in with a, um, management company. So I don't know, like, to have somebody list it for a high price. Is that being disrespectful, rude? Is that like a unwritten rule that you don't do that with renders in there? I guess I'm new to the industry. I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, do you already have renters in it?
Not at this time.
So if you don't have renters in it, why are you concerned about the renters of listing it?
Because we're currently in the process of getting renders in. Or that's what the plan is.
So I think they're looking, Jason, at getting renters in. And if they get renters in, then, should they go ahead and try to sell it?
Oh, I mean, that's up to them. I don't know. All depends on your goals, what you're looking for. I mean,
So there's a lot of factors.
there's a lot of factors. Yeah.
So spreadsheets are the answer for most everything. So you put in a spreadsheet from a financial perspective. You put in what your costs are, make sure you plan it out because you can sell a home and end up with a whole lot less than you thought you were going to have. If you go ahead and, so the three C's are consistent, consideration, and competency. And so if you go ahead and number two is consideration. So if you're getting renters in, are you going to have them on a, 1 year lease? Well, if you're going to have them on a 1 year lease, if you're going to have them on a 1 year lease, well, that kind of, if you're doing month to month and they move in and then all of a sudden they see a for sale sign go up and then they have people traipsing through, probably not going to be real happy about that. Um, and so, um, so I think communication with them and saying, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. So they know up front what you're doing. If people know up front what you're doing, they can still complain or be upset about it, but it's harder because you let them know up front what potentially was going on. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Questions?
So it'd be okay if up front you let them know that it could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. If you let them know, you might not get a renter then. They might say, well, I don't want to move in if you're going to sell the home in 3 months, or I don't want to move in if you're going to go ahead and show the home. If I'm going to have to go ahead and, have people coming in throughout the week or the weekend and that type of thing. And so if you're looking at selling the home, probably the best thing to do is not get renters in
Hmm.
because renters can go ahead and very much kill a sale. Like if they don't want you to go ahead, and so I don't know what condition the house is in, but renters can go ahead and make it very hard for a realtor. So by and large, I think it's probably fair to say that any realtor is gonna recommend you don't get renters in if you're going to try to sell it.
Because
Hmm.
then also, like the new buyer, how do you know if they want to live there or rent there or they get to pick their own tenants? I mean, if you had a tenant already in there for a couple of years then it's probably not a big deal. But if you're, or not as big a deal, because
If
the
it's
next
a
person
good
might,
if it's a good renter and if they're
right,
paying a good rent,
right.
like then they're happy. Like this long-term renter and they're paying lots and they take the care of the property. What's the but those are not normal renters. That's
Hmm.
an abnormal renter that's going to take great care of the property and going to go ahead and pay a really good rent. That's not normal.
Got it. That makes sense.
Other questions, Luke?
Not on that, I don't think, or no.
Okay. Jason, anything you want to accomplish today?
I don't think so. I'm good.
Ben, anything you want to accomplish?
Um, I was thinking about what I want to do with this free time that's about to bestow upon me next month. And
Yep.
I have a list of things for like maybe a month max.
Yep.
Think I might go back to school.
Okay.
Um, kind of more
Okay.
like an apprenticeship thing.
Yeah.
Um, Think about getting my CDL, which you can
Okay.
do with a lot of different things.
Yep.
But then I was thinking about going to line work, which is the electrical
Yep.
lineman.
Yep.
Looking at that too, and that there's a lot of different things that you can spread out from that. A lot of different areas. Um, the only issue I have is
Cousin
that
that
I tried, huh?
I have a cousin that does the line work stuff.
Nice. Well, there you go. We can talk about that for sure. Um, the only problem is school wise, it's always kind of intimidated me ever since I tried the firefighter stuff,
Right.
and I don't see I don't have any confidence in being able to go in there and be able to pass it. And I don't think I got any smarter since I was a firefighter.
Well, in firefighting, in firefighting, there's certain things. So you can probably, with the AI and the internet, and if you know somebody in the industry, you can find out what types. So there's certain types of knowledge that you're probably good at, and then there's other types that you're not.
Yeah, I did the whole AI thing and I saved it all, and the test and everything is a 3 out of 10 supposedly. I don't know how the AI figures that. But then it's the actual ability to do what you say, which is a 7 out of 10 in difficulty, which saying what I can do, like driving the thing and doing that stuff, I feel like I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
And then there's just the action of like it's easier not to do it and just keep doing what I have been doing.
Right.
Don't know when I don't really want to be like everyone else, but I also don't want to be like the people who win for it sometimes.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so there's
Right.
that tiny little gap where I'm like, most of the people, there's a lot more alive people, I would think, that just kind of cruise through life
Right.
that I like, but there's a lot more of those kind of people.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Are you saying the ones that go for it, those are the ones that are dying off, or
They have a higher chance of dying off, yeah.
What does going for it mean?
Uh, no, this is a joke. Purposely getting fired from the RV factory just to jump into a business where you work 80 hours a week.
See, that's what's interesting, Ben, because I just thought of that in the last few weeks. The people that work in the RV factory, I wonder if they get tired of it and they
Mhm.
almost like subconsciously, intentionally, but subconsciously, try to get laid off or get fired or, whatever. Or they complain so much to their wives that their wives are like, get out of there. But we have a client and he's got his own business, had it for a number of years, and he's 38 years old. And so he says, but he's got a business on the side. And so he has a hard time doing both, and it's hard to do both. And he said in his ideal dream world, he would sell his business to somebody else and he would work for that new business owner. So I asked him, I said, what do you think about, he's not married and he doesn't have any kids. And so I said, what do you think about having a partner come in? I said, why do you want to do that? He says, I'm not any good at business.
He's married. He's not married, and he's 34 years old.
38.
Jeez Louise, Luke, you better watch out.
So I asked him, I said, he says, yeah, I'm getting tired of the factory and, I'm not getting any younger. And I said, well, why don't you want to own your own company? He says, I'm not good at business. And a couple of the coaches that, are coaching him would, agree with that. But that's why he's got the coaches. So he's got people that owe him money. He's got people that are taking advantage of him. He's not got the right pricing in place. Those are all things that can be learned or somebody else can do it. So I said, are you interested in potentially, having a partner rather than selling it? Like you do the working part and somebody else does the business part. And he's like, oh yeah, I'd be very interested in that. I'm like, what? And so this gentleman's Amish. And so I said, would your partner have to be Amish? And he's like, no, yeah, I'd be fine with it. So I've been thinking.
Wait, Amish or ex-Amish?
No, he's Amish.
Jeez, Luke, you're really. Phew. Look at the guy and just do the opposite.
So
sorry about that.
Right. So, are you guys all familiar with what a cooperative is?
Someone who cooperates with people and get along with people.
That's being cooperative, but a co-op is like a food co-op. They have this in homeschoolings, and a lot of moms are part of co-ops. They buy in bulk, and then so they kind of manage it all together as a community.
Okay.
And so, so I've got some of that kind of ish going, but not formally. So I'm thinking about talking to this gentleman about that, to where you have a co-op ownership of people. And so you have, you might have in this co-op, you might have, I don't know, 5 business owners or 10 business owners.
You're just wild. You are just a wild guy.
I'm sure if you would check in, like those business owners would be okay with an occasional factory worker having an owner as well.
That is just wild, Pops.
What do you mean, Luke?
I was speaking to Ben, like they would, consider having a factory worker as the owner as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, what the key is what are you bringing, what are you bringing to the party? And the challenge is, how do you get everybody to flow together? So in the pre-show, always come early, always stay late. So we're talking about flow. And with Jonathan, our oldest son, it took, I don't know, it was not easy. I mean, it was brutal. We had multiple starts and stops, and it was hard. We worked together for 10 years. It took 9 years to really get into sync, and then we were really into flow. And it was a beautiful thing for the last year. Prior to that, it was bumps, ups and downs. It was interesting. So I was talking to Nora, who's the co-author of Your Voice in My Headset. So she and I are writing a book about friendship. And so, she, when we first met, I said, I love people. I just don't like people. And she went ahead and said, you'll like me. And I said, we'll see. But I did for 3 months. I really liked her, like a 10, like it was really cool. Now I asked her today, I said, so how would you rate our friendship? And she's like, there's times it's a 2, and then times it's a 10. So there's a lot of roller coaster that's going on. And I would agree. I would agree. There's times I definitely do not like her, which is interesting. So, we've only been friends for 9 months. And so, so in my sleep last night, I was thinking about a project, the business project I had, but then somehow when I woke up, I thought, like Alvin Miller, he said friendships, are like marriages. And I'm like, interesting. And so in marriages, they say that you need to have 5 positive things said for every negative thing said. And if you don't, and it's literally mathematics, there's actually math behind it where a marriage will thrive if there's 5 positives for every negative. Like it's math, it's science. And so I thought, a lot of you can have a very successful business making money. Everybody's making money, everything's successful. And you can have the business, the owners miserable with one another. Just hate it. You can have a business that's working hard, not making money and struggling. And the business owners are like, yeah, no, this is cool. Like we're in it together and this and this and this and this. So where can you go ahead? Where can you find a lot of potential businesses? There was business that Luke went ahead and talked to, and I think it was construction, and they bought out this business 2 or 3 years ago. Owner financing, they bought it from the business, doing really good, very successful. They didn't buy it through a business broker. They found it on their own. So where can you find businesses on your own? Where is a great place to find them?
Jason emails you once a week.
What's that?
I said Jason emails you once a week.
Okay.
Those are brokers, but probably local communities advertise. I mean, I don't know.
So what's one of the best sources to find businesses that are potentially for sale before the owner even knows they're for sale?
White males over 50.
Okay. It's accounting firms. Because they do their taxes. They know all kinds of stuff about them. They know how old they are. They know they probably without a lot of work, they probably go ahead and know that their kids are not going to take over the business. And so whenever you see an auction, to me, that's just sad. Because what you're doing is selling off a business just for scraps. It's just whatever the equipment is worth. There's no value in the database. There's no value in the client. There's no value in the brand. There's no value. The only thing that they're worth is, the equipment that's there. And so that would be another place. Like we had a client, he owned a printing company. And what he did is had a system for it. It was amazing. He would go in and buy a printing company that was for sale, but he'd never buy any of the equipment. Never. All he'd do is buy the customer list. He would then take the customer list and bring it in. And then what he would do is he would send a letter out, welcome them, say, hey, bought over the business. And he would immediately bump up the price 20%. That's just what he would do. He would lose 10% of the clients, but on 90% of the clients, he would get 20% more. So his profit margins, he would pay off that business in a year 2 years max, just by building the client list. So, so the auction companies, I wonder if there's a whole bunch of businesses out there that are like, they have a gold mine and they don't even know it. Like they're leaving some of the most valuable things that they had. I mean, I know one business that went ahead and where the business owner was just going to go ahead and let the business die. Tell his clients he's no longer in business, and he would have walked away from $150,000. Just walked away from it. And so, how many other businesses are out there like that? I don't know. So could you put together some type of a program? Could you put together some type of a program where you could go to all the accountants and say, here's something that you could, if you could get this out. So have a package or something. Have a package or something that the accountants could give to potential prospects that might be interested in selling their business. And could you generate leads? If you can get the leads before a business broker, probably a lot better chance. Just like if you can buy a house, nothing against realtors, but if you buy a house without going through a realtor, it's often a lot easier, a lot better. It's better for both parties. Same thing is true with a business. And how many businesses are out there that they're just going to close down and they don't? And the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in business, their business, they're just kind of gradually letting it die. And what kind of opportunities could that bring to all of you, all of us, and other people? I don't know. Questions?
Nope, I'm good.
And so I am I've been in my own companies for now 40 years. And I am continued to be amazed at how hard it is a business to really know the financials. To really understand where the financials are. And then once you see the financial data, like this one client, he's got customers taking advantage of him. Like, well, that's not going to be good. And he's not pricing things properly. Well, that's not going to be good either. And so they just don't have the knowledge base. They don't know the numbers. And they don't know, even if they did know the numbers, they don't know what to do with the numbers. And so if you can find a business that's like that, you can get a really, really good deal on the business. The business owner gets a great deal because somebody's willing to buy their business. And if you have the right team that can come in, and you have somebody that can come in and look at the accounting and all of the books and all of the stuff, you can have somebody come in and look at the marketing and the pre-sales and the sales and the servicing, client relationship for life. You have somebody come in with the technology. You have somebody come in maybe with AI now. You have somebody come in with all of that. So you have a whole team that comes in like special ops, and each one has their own expertise. I don't know. It just seems like it would be a beautiful thing. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Anybody else have anything else?
No, sir.
Nope.
Oh, in pickleball, my professional coach, Courtney, I asked her, I said, so the beginning players, what's their biggest challenge? And she said, having them do what they learn. So you teach them how to hit something or how to return something or how to serve something. I said, what's the biggest challenge that beginners have? And she said, applying what they learn. I said, what's the biggest challenge intermediate has? She said, same thing, applying what you learn. I said, what's the biggest challenge that advanced has? And she said, drills, practice. I said, that's fascinating. I said, what's the biggest challenge that men have? And she said, ego. I said, copy that. I said, what's the biggest challenge that women have? And she said, they put their husband and their children and everybody else in front of them, so they don't get to practice, work out health-wise. They're the last one. I said, that's interesting. And I said, what's the biggest challenge that children have? And she said, self-discipline. And so, you know, the parallels to pickleball, to business, and how do you build strong business owners and strong business teams is just really fascinating. And so one of the team members helped me to realize this last week that I'm really terrible at really terrible at building successful teams. And I've never had anybody ask me, Mark, are you good at building successful teams? I've never even asked myself, are you building successful? And I'm not. I suck at it. And so it's like, okay, good. Now that I know that, what do I need to do to change it? And so I know how to develop individuals, I think, pretty well, better than the average. I know how to develop individuals, but I don't know how to get the individuals and interconnect with the teams and all of those things. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.